Okay, guys, I think I've finally gotten all the camera angles correct. Autofocus is terrible. You have to manually focus. I just learned that. Um, so anyway, I got a full high definition Logitech webcam. So I'm going all in. I'd like to do these videos for a little while and see what the reception is. Basically, I'm just going to be doing deck techs on Magic the Gathering decks that I have. Things I want to talk about, new set releases. I'll be doing a couple of box openings. Definitely in 3 weeks when the new set releases, I'll have a box to open on camera for you guys. Um, so this is actually going to be my first full-length video because I've gotten all the software needed to complete it. So the first two videos, it's actually going to be the same deck that, if you guys are familiar with the first two videos that I did, it's actually the same exact deck. Couple of tweaks. Went 2-1-1 last night at Friday Night Magic at Hypermind in Burlington. Um, just ran into a couple of really aggro decks. One of them was playing Devotion, Green Devotion, Aspect of Hydra, and just building the board, dropping a Xenagos, and trying to double the creature's power. And Aspect of Hydra for 20 something. We ended up drawing that game. And the fourth and final round, I actually ran into red green monsters. So that's definitely something I added to the sideboard for. Took out some irrelevant cards, and my matchups were really poor against red green monsters. So the fact that it's all over this format means I need to sideboard better. Okay, so let's go right into this deck. It's actually Simic Ramp if you want to give it an archetype. I like to call it Devotion of Kiora, but actual archetype would probably be Simic Ramp. So I'm going to start with a land base, 60 cards, nothing too fancy. We have 4 Breeding Pool. Have 4 Temple of Mystery. Just note the first one, signed foil by Noah Bradley, the Grand Prix in Richmond, so thank you for that. We're running 8 basic forests. They're all actually the same art from Theros. Very beautiful little scene there, all foil, all from the set Theros. A sucker for some beautiful artwork on some lands here, so just show you guys really the detail in that. And we have 5 basic islands. All foil, just kind of from different sets. I'll just kind of go through here so you can guys see the different artwork I chose for the deck. It's probably one of my favorite ones right here. It's from M11. I just cannot find them. I'd like to do the same thing I did with the Theros Forest there, but beautiful artwork. Okay, and then we have the abusive engine of the deck, the Nick Those Shrine-to Nicks. We're actually only able to get 1 foil of these. It's actually a pretty hard card to find foil. I don't know if you guys can see the detail on it. It's really sick looking. The storm in the background is really nice. We're running 3 of those. And we have 4, getting into the creature base now, we have 4 Sylvan Caryatids. So 0/3 wall with hexproof, allows you to ramp into your massive spells. We'll get into that later. Have 3 Kiora's Followers. It's actually one of the only cards in the deck I don't have at least one foil version of. I cannot find them anywhere. So anyway, this is just basically untaps a land or a creature permanent, any permanent that you want to untap. But I mainly use it for Nick Those Shrine and Nicks to untap the land to generate even more mana. There's 3 Voyaging Satyrs here. All foil. It actually took me a long time to find these. All foil. Many of the red-green monster decks, anything playing Devotion is going to have these in it. So it's actually really hard for me to find 3 foil ones. So I'm kind of proud of that. But put those there. We have 4 Corsair of Crufix. Absolutely fantastic card for standard. It's being played in almost every deck that runs green. Um, just an absolutely phenomenal card. You can play with the top card of your library revealed, and you can play the top card of your library if it's a land, and whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. So there are multiple synergies with this card. Domri Raid. Actually, there's a small synergy with Garrett, Caller of Beasts. If you want to plus Garrick to grab some creatures off the top, at least you can see what the top card is. Um, the only drawback, if you are drawing a bunch of cards, you actually have to reveal all those cards to the player. So, but the good severely outweighs the bad. So it's an absolutely phenomenal card, and it adds 2 green devotion, so you can start abusing Nykthos pretty early in the game. We have our board sweeper called Pelucanos, World Eater. Legendary creature Hydra. It has monstrosity of X, X, and Forest. You can actually pretty much wipe your opponent's board with this card. If they're playing a weenie deck, a mono black, hasty Mogus's Marauder and things like that. I actually have built that deck. It's actually a lot of fun to play. I'll have a video on that too. This guy is just absolutely phenomenal. And if nothing else, you can just dump all the land that you can generate into this guy. You can only monstrous for once, but usually it only takes one good time. And we have 3 Prophet of Crufix. Actually, really, really good card. One of the reasons I wanted to build this deck in the first place, I actually was able to find one foil one. I don't know if you guys can see the detail on that, but it's a beautiful, beautiful card. I'll probably actually take it out so you can see. Let's actually look at this. Absolutely beautiful card. Anyway, back to what it does. It untaps all of your creatures and lands during your opponent's untap step. So basically, you are playing 2 turns to their 1. Not fair at all. A lot of fun to play with. And then we have, just for the pimpness of this card, I just want to show you the simplified Chinese version of this card right here, Progenitor Mimic. Pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, I'm really happy I got that. So this card is actually one of the combo pieces to the deck. So you are going to cast this and copy any creature in play. So none of the creatures I've showed you so far are worthy of copying. This will be better when you see the next creature I'm about to show you guys. It's actually a play set of Sylvan Primordial, so it sounds really ridiculous. There are 4 copies of a 7 casting cost card, but this card is an absolute bomb. When it enters the battlefield, you destroy anything in play that's not a creature on the opponent's side of the board. Then you go get a forest. So naturally, go get one of these breeding pool or forests up here. Put it into play tapped. The synergy with Corsair of Crufix, gain a life. So you're actually not even playing a land, you're just getting one and putting it into play, so you can gain a life. There are multiple synergies in the deck, but Progenitor Mimic copying Sylvan Primordial is probably an auto win. Pretty disgusting combo right there. And we are playing actually 6 Planeswalkers, 3 Kiora the Crashing Wave. Actually, really awesome card. I find myself -1 more often. Draw a card, you can play an additional land this turn, because if you can actually drop Kiora on turn 3 and drop 2 lands, you're actually looking at a turn 4, potentially a turn 4 Sylvan Primordial, or a turn 4 Garrick with mana backup. And you'll see the Garrick upcoming next here. I'm just going to demonstrate some of the awesomeness of this Japanese foil. Japanese foil Garrett, Caller of Beasts. So a regular version, awesome. A foil American English version, awesome. And then the Japanese foil. I'm almost going to take this out just to show you guys. The value, I'm not really sure, but it's probably a lot. I'll show you guys that. Really, really sweet looking. Okay, so I'm going to show actually show you guys the English version so you can understand what this card does. Text is a little small. Read it to you. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put all creatures revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So you can actually see I'm only going to miss on technically 10 things. So, and not including lands. We're going to miss on other Garriks. We're going to miss on Kiora the Crashing Wave, and we're going to miss on the 4 copies of Cyclonic Rift that I have to the side right here. That's the last card I'm going to show you. But basically, you are drawing cards every single turn. The opponent has to deal with this card immediately, because if you are drawing potentially 5 cards a turn, that's game over. I mean, there's just no way you can deal with that. You have to deal with Garrick as soon as it hits the table. I've seen people go all in just to kill this guy. -3 ability is actually pretty relevant. You can put a green creature card from your hand into the battlefield. If you're actually behind on board and you have a Primordial, let's say on turn 4, that you can't cast because you're only on 6, you can actually put a Garrick into play, -3 the Garrick, drop the Primordial, target one of their lands, go get you your 7th land, and then you are right back in things. Card is really, really good. The ultimate is really absolutely unnecessary, and I've actually done it only one time, just for flavor. I mean, it's just really gross. Whenever you play a creature spell, search your library for a creature and put it onto the battlefield. I mean, that's just, it's really, really unnecessary. Okay, and like I told you, the 4 copies of Cyclonic Rift, this card is mostly played for its overload cost. This one's foil here. You can look at that. It's really, really sweet. Even the artwork on the non-foil one is awesome looking. But the picture kind of shows you what it's going to do. It is going to sweep up everything that they have in play and put it back into their hand. Not including lands, but it will sweep their board up, put it into their hand, and they are left with, however many lands in play and nothing else. So you can do it pre-combat to clear your way. You can do it at the end of their turn, which is an awesome time to do it. 5 cards in hand. Okay, I'll return everything to your hand, and now you have to discard 3 or 4 cards. Really, really awful thing to do to somebody, especially if they're tapped out. It's just really, really awful. But this card is absolutely a game-winning card. I usually try to save them. If you're casting it for its normal casting cost of 2, you're probably behind. So this card comes out in control matchups. Probably cut 2 in an aggro matchup. And I will actually kind of sweep these up here and I'll talk about the sideboard a little bit because this is mainly what I've tweaked. Let's just show you the Garrick emblem here. Only been used once, but it was disgusting when it happened. And the Kiora emblem here. So the Kiora emblem is actually really easy to get to. Really game changing, but not for this deck. This deck wants to just power out as many things as possible. You don't really need to be making 9/9 blue Kraken tokens every turn. Sylvan Primordial is fine for me, and Progenitor Mimic. If I'm behind in a game and I feel like I can ultimate Kiora fast enough, which let me just show you guys the -5 ability on here. So it comes in with 2 loyalty. Yeah, actually, effectively 4 turns, you can get a 9/9 blue Kraken creature token onto the battlefield at the beginning of your end step every turn. So it's really good if you're behind or if you just have nothing else to do. I mean, it's really, really versatile. I use it mainly for the -1 ability, but +1, -5, really, really good too. Not for this deck, maybe for Bant Planeswalkers or something like that. But I have done this a couple of times and it has been game over. Get that back in there. You saw the 2 emblems. I'm work into the sideboard here. Let's put all these cards together. How do you guys like the video? Is it exactly what you would hope for after the first 2 poor quality cell phone videos? Video quality is much, much better on here. I'm very, very, very happy about the webcam. I actually got it from Amazon. It's a Logitech C920. So actually the top of the line HD webcam that you can get. It's actually relatively cheap. Under $100 is pretty good for the video quality that you're seeing here. I was very, very excited about that. So let's talk about the sideboard a little bit. We have 4 copies. This was originally 2 copies, but this card is so important in um, aggro matchups. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to your devotion of green. Means for each forest and the mana cost of your permanents. So you're looking up here. If you have 10 permanents in play with a forest and their casting cost, you're going to gain 10 life when this enters the battlefield. On turn 4 or 5, when an aggro deck has completely wiped their hand, just dropping ridiculous things on the board, Boros Reckoners and Fire Drinker Satyrs, and the White Weenie deck just dropping a whole bunch of dudes. A 3/3 body is pretty good for 4, but gain 10 life and have a 3/3 body on the field. Also, if you guys remember the Progenitor Mimic, I actually bring in a 3rd copy of Progenitor Mimic. I cut 2 Sylvan Primordials. I cut 2 Cyclonic Rifts. I bring in 4 copies of Nylea's Disciple and 1 Progenitor Mimic. Copying Nylea's Disciple against aggro is really, really gross and something that they cannot deal with. They absolutely cannot. You cannot deal with this. This card being copied every single turn is it's just gross for aggro. You win the game. There's no way that they can do it. They can lightning bolt it. Okay, fine. I'm already at 60 life. Deal with that. So really, really good. 2 Pithing Needles for control matchups. I haven't really actually played a whole lot of control against this deck. But that's for Elspeth. I'm not running Elspeth, so it's for Packrat and Elspeth. Those are the 2 cards that I care about. The 2 cards that really, really screw me up. Also, Domri Raid too, guys. Domri Raid for the red-green monsters matchup. I brought it in against Domri Raid last night, and Domri Raid completely blew me out. I didn't see a Pithing Needle, but Domri Raid absolutely killed me. So we have 2 Arbor Colossus with the mono black matchup. I actually have Sylvan Primordials to block a Desecration Demon, but I have no way of killing it. So this is awesome to kill it. Drop it turn 4 with a little mana ramp, and you actually can monstrous it on turn 5 to their turn 4 Desecration Demon, or potentially turn 3 if they're playing Jund. Turn 3 they drop a demon. Turn 4 you Arbor Colossus. Well, I'll sacrifice a Voyaging Satyr to tap down your demon, and then next turn I will monstrous and kill your demon. So really, really awesome card for mono black matchups. That also blocks my Spectre. 2 Nylea God of the Hunt. Let's let you guys see that one. This is for this playing against the same deck, which actually happened last night. This card won the game. Since I've been playing this deck at the card shop I go to, actually 3 other people have built this deck because it's just so much fun to play with. There's just so much synergy. You can do some really disgusting things on like turn 5 or 6 and leave your opponent like, oh my god, what just happened? So this card is sideboard for playing against the same deck, which actually happened last night. Really, really funny. And then 4 Mistcutter Hydras just for value. I mean, mono blue is not really a thing at my card shop, but mono blue is going to be a thing in standard for a little while. So you have to respect that matchup because we are really not ready for that. We're not ready for a bunch of little Master of Wave tokens and things like that. We can't really deal with that. Cyclonic Rift is the only way we can really deal with that. But Mistcutter Hydra, really, really good. All right, and that is the actual deck we have. You guys saw it all laid out earlier. You guys kind of see that. This is the Simic ramp deck from my first 2 videos I posted to Facebook. This one is actually going on YouTube, so you guys can follow me on there. There will be a link in the video. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys should see a mono black aggro deck. Kind of a budget deck that I put together, so you guys will see a deck tech on that here shortly. I hope you guys liked it, and yeah, look forward to the black aggro budget deck and also a Journey into Nyx box opening in 3 weeks. Thank you.